What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another deck profile here on TCG University for the card game UniVersus. My name's Tam, and today I'm going to be showing you the Nightwolf deck that was played in this week's Campus Championship. This deck's really awesome. This deck's super cool. I think Nightwolf is way better than I initially gave him credit for. And so, with that said, let's go ahead and jump into the profile and see what choices we made. All right, so Nightwolf. What does Nightwolf do in a nutshell? What's the elevator pitch? Well, he says anytime that you block one of my attacks, my next attack is going to get way bigger. And then once per turn, either my turn or your turn, I can overcommit some foundations, increase their worth, but then I lose them on the next round. They become frozen, which means they do not uncommit during the next ready phase. So there's a little bit of an issue with the wording here. If I have a foundation, and we'll use this face down as my example, and I play it on my turn where I go to and I attempt to play an attack and I use the Nightwolf response, I commit, and it gets +2 to the check. The card is frozen. It will not be readied on my next turn, on the next ready phase. So when it becomes my opponent's turn, that is the next ready phase. It then thaws. It is unfrozen. So then when it gets back to my turn, when the game mechanics say that my cards would ready back up, it does, because it only stayed frozen till my opponent's turn. And so with this, I'll call it a loophole, Nightwolf can make some incredibly explosive plays on his turn and not really get that punished for it. But if you do happen to have to use the response on my opponent's turn to hit a clutch block, you certainly can. I think this character is insane, and I definitely think that if you have not tried Nightwolf, you definitely should. So let's see the build that Tyler decided to go with this week. So we are playing Under Earth. And I want to say one of the main reasons to play this character is, while we have it, you should play Woodman's support. Woodman's Leaf Shield says, while it's in the card pool, all of my opponent's block modifiers get +1. And Nightwolf's Enhance says, if this card is blocked, the damage is equal to the block modifier, not the printed block modifier. And so if they happen to block with a 3 printed block modifier, and I have Woodman's Leaf Shield in my card pool, their block modifier goes from 3 to 4, which means the damage Nightwolf gives me is +5 to my next attack. And because it is a static that just exists in the card pool, all of my opponent's blocks are harder to use, and then Nightwolf's Enhance is going to make all of my attacks crazy strong. So either they don't block anything, or they have to block everything, and that makes this character really scary as a 7 hand size. Speaking of increasing those block modifiers, we're also playing for Tomahawk Swing. Response or Enhance, your block modifier to block this gets +2, so it's basically a 6 high for 4. Probably going to be the second attack that we play, so that if they blocked it, it's going to get massive. And then you can respond discard momentum. After it deals damage, you can blow up your foundations equal to the damage dealt, and then build ready ones back in. So you could destroy your committed foundations and build ready ones to just keep swinging. Or even better yet, you can blow up the committed ones that you have frozen with Nightwolf and bring back in ready ones to then use your I guess you can't use the response again, but you know what I mean. We just get to refresh our board if we need to. Very strong. Up next, a standard Earth card. We are playing for Nutcracker for 2 reasons, really. One, if I do have to make this Clutch Breaker 2 block, Nightwolf says that I can pretty much guarantee pass that check, as well as accidentally giving Nutcracker 4 or 5 damage off of my opponent blocking, and then me throwing a low zone Nutcracker. Not to mention Nutcracker getting an additional 4 damage off of it means that my Nutcrackers are absolutely massive. A little draw is not terrible as well. There's just a ton of really good options when it comes to Nutcracker. There's pretty much no zone in the game where Nutcracker is bad. On to some other tools. We are playing 3 Vicious Madness as a 4 mid for 8. It feels really good giving this card 4, maybe 5 damage. And with Nightwolf being able to play this later in the chain by using his response once per turn, sometimes they just won't see a 4 mid for 8+X coming. And it's the same reason that we are also playing Massive Blow. Either we play it late in the chain using the response, or we play it first and we force our opponent to start blocking things. Massive Blow has Stun 1, is an 8 damage attack, just like Vicious Madness. And this also makes my opponent flip some cards, so it's a little bit of staging area control as well. Solid choice. And the last card that we are playing is just another Earth staple. We're playing Double Dark Chirito. This card, if you just can't find a cool kill condition, Dark Chirito is your answer under its 3 symbols. It's got multiple, which means if my opponent does happen to block it, my multiples are going to be getting extra damage. And it is a 4 low for 6, and so giving this thing, like I said, an extra 4 damage, making a 4 low, making my multiple copies 4 low for 10 does not seem bad. They either can't block any of them or they have to block all of them. It feels good. On to my actions and assets. For my actions, we're just playing double stop. Like I said at the very top, having a clutch block is really important inside of this character, and just being able to like, hey, I'll freeze a couple of my foundations to make sure that your character doesn't work anymore is really, really good. It's a very good answer. A lot of times whenever we are playing as a stop character, especially as a 7 hand size character, I've committed so many resources to playing my attacks that my defense isn't very good. But being able to just, my once per turn, freeze a couple of foundations that are probably playable all committed, and then just jam the stop out might just be the thing that ends your turn, lets me go back to mine, and then I try and kill you. On to our assets, we are playing 1 Omega Sword and Owl Shield. Ignoring progressive on blocks is really good. Getting a little bit of extra damage is really good. It's a 1/5 with a 1 mid block. It's just an all-around beautiful tool. I highly suggest putting it at a 1 of in every deck that can possibly play it. And then we're playing 1 Coludus. If I happen to touch you, I get to flip a problem card in your staging area. Maybe you've got something that turns off how my character works. Maybe you've got something that makes your engine, your deck run incredibly efficiently. Well, Coludus, if you let me touch you, I'm going to make sure that that card is flipped. It's also really good as asset hate. It can flip my opponent's assets, and it's tough to get those assets back once they are foundations. On to our foundations. I want to talk about our aggressive foundations first. And in the same thing with Woodman's Leaf Shield, we are playing 3 One with Nature. This card increases my opponent's block modifier, which means my next attack with Nightwolf is going to get even bigger. Not to mention, it gets a little bit bigger off of its response of after you've discarded a card on its enhance. Very, very solid card. In addition to that, we're also playing 3 Second Saintly Beast. This card does say plus or minus, but I'm putting it as plus because Nightwolf is pumping damage, and so we need a way to push that damage through, and the way to do that is with our foundation speed. So this card can be used defensively. That's fine, but I want to smack people with it, and that's why I want to put it in the deck. On to some flow, we're playing one of Tyler's absolute favorite cards, the Forbidden Technique. This card, if you happen to get it into your staging area, it counts as 2, because you take a card off the top of your deck after you flipped it, and you build an additional one face down. Feels really solid to freeze my face down cards, even if I take the risk of accidentally building a foundation, or excuse me, building an attack or a useful foundation off of the Forbidden Technique. It just kind of puts me ahead just that much further to try and kill you on my next turn. Some more flow cards, because we are playing Nutcracker. We are playing 4 Sense of Morals. This card does not count towards progressive while it is in the card pool, and it is a playable while committed. Re-ready some things from my stun. Really good target for freezing with Nightwolf. I will commit a couple of Sense of Morals, and instead of getting +2 to my check for committing 2 of them, I will get +4 to my check for committing 2 of them. Feels really, really good to still have my abilities useful even while they're frozen. In the same vein, we're playing 4 Hell's Reach, but this is even more value because I can commit my Hell's Reach and freeze it, and then use my enhance to ready it back up and face down. If it's ready, it's no longer frozen, and so I don't have to worry about the drawback off of Nightwolf's response. I can say everything that I just said with Dreaming of Becoming Whole as well. It is a commit, and then if I've discarded any momentum, it can ready itself back up. So I can commit these, respond off of Nightwolf, discard my momentum, ready them back up, and then they are ready, so they basically count as not being frozen still. A lot of re-readying happening. Up next, we've got some defense. We've got double Guardian of the Spirit Sword. This says -2, possibly -3, and then we get to find one of our cool assets. We are only running 2 assets, but that is okay. The 2 assets that we're running are very, very strong. But getting -2, -3 is well enough to earn its spot inside the deck. A little more speed hate. We've also got double Bakery Poster Girl. This card says that if my opponent is playing cool enhances, I'm just going to be able to auto block one of their attacks. Very strong, especially whenever I've got Breaker 2 off of my Nutcracker or a good stop block. It means that I don't even have to use my response, or I can use this enhance, and it is playable while committed, so maybe I've already used my response, so on and so forth. So this is a ton of different options. Up next, we're playing 3 Toughest Punk in Junior High. As a 7 hand size character, being able to partially block a 6 damage attack and say that it does nothing is very, very solid. It's pretty good. Being a 7 hand size character, just a solid defensive option. Up next, defense-wise, we've got Shadow Inheritance. The main reason I put this in defense and not offense is because it says response commit before I block. I pretty much auto-pass my check. And then if I have to double down on Nightwolf, I can. But this kind of is Nightwolf's ability all packed in one foundation, pretty much only for blocking. Onto a bit of disruption. We're playing 4 Spiritual Connection. This is his card. It says response flip. After I'm dealt damage from an attack, my opponent has to play a non-attack card, or they have to pass their turn. And it also says response flip. I get to name a card if I know they're playing a Punch and Judy deck, or I saw them pick up a Scarlet Meteor or something along those lines. I can name a card, and then every time that they play a named copy of that card, I get to build the top card of my deck into my staging area face down. I get to overbuild and then use those resources with Nightwolf. So just like a really, really solid plan. If my opponent Punch and Judy's me, I get to build in 4 cards by calling either Punch or Judy. Or if I've got double Spiritual Connection, I can be like, I'll call Punch, I'll call Judy. I'm going to build 8 foundations this turn. I have plus 16 to my check because I'm Nightwolf. I'm going to block whatever you were attacking me with. Up next, disruption-wise, we've got triple Dark Side of Karma. This card just says that if my opponent plays an enhance on a non-weapon, non-character card, I can cancel. I can be like, oh, knock it off. This card's super good. Not to mention the enhance flip, turn one of their speeds back to printed means that I don't have to use my response on Nightwolf nearly as often. We're playing Double Venomous, a great playable while committed. If my opponent adds a card to their hand, I can destroy it and cancel it. And so the more playable while committed I can get, the more value I can get out of Nightwolf. And the last card that we have in the deck is Double Ominous Prophecy. This card just says flip, add an asset to your momentum. Momentum hate just like Coludus. And it also randomly stops keywords. So if I know my opponent's playing, let's say, a combo deck, I can take the combo keyword off. Or they're playing a stun deck, I'll take the stun keyword off. Or they're playing a powerful throw, multiple desperation. There's a ton of really good choices. But this card is exclusively skill-based. If you are not using this card, if you're losing and you have this card on your board, either your opponent has played around it or you weren't paying close enough attention to the match. All right, so there you have it. There's the Nightwolf list that Tyler played for this week's Campus Championship. If you like his list or have some changes for him, let him know down in the comments down below. He would absolutely love to hear your feedback. And make sure you go and you check out all the matches that were played. They'll be on a playlist in the channel separately. And the best way to support the channel is by going out to Patreon. Patreon.com/TCGUniversity. Sub out there at any of the levels, get a bunch of extra access to a bunch of extra stuff. So with that said, from all of us here at TCGU, thank you very much for watching and stay learned.